Finally, Geordies, an away victory at the Hill Dickinson, a 4-1 win over Everton. If you're new around here, my name's Adam and this is Two for Joy. But the biggest thing to say today is what a relief. What a relief to finally see us put 4 goals past somebody, look like we're ready to finish teams off and move away from the mainstays of this squad. Now, I'll start with the Nick Pope thing and then we'll move through the key incidents of the game and look at the team later on. First off, Nick Pope being injured. Now, personally, I'm not sure how injured Nick Pope really is. And I think this might have been a clever move by Eddie to take the heat off of Nick Pope for the change being brought to Aaron Ramsdale. Now, I think this was the right move overall. I've been calling for Ramsdale for a few weeks now. And I feel like this was the right game to bring him in. I thought he had a solid performance. He looked a little nervy, if I'm honest, especially with his handling of the ball. But his ground game, playing with his feet, you can see how much pressure that takes off the defence. Every time they pass the ball back to him, and it opens up that play. And even the Everton forwards, nobody really pressed Ramsdale today. Now, if that ball had gone back to Nick Pope, you know as well as I do, they'd have been flying down on top of him and making sure he has no time to control that ball or put it out. And 9 times out of 10, it'll end up in row Z. And I'll just say there wasn't one incident today where Aaron Ramsdale had to boot that ball out of play. So, if I'm honest, I think we have to move forward with keeping Ramsdale in there until Pope either earns his spot back in the team or Aaron Ramsdale makes, a foul or a mistake that causes him to be dropped. So we'll go through the incidents of the game anyway. So 55 seconds in, the big man, I'm so pleased for him, Malik Chow, fastest goal in the Premier League this season, only pipping Phil Foden by 4 seconds from earlier in the day. And I have to be honest, I thought Malik Chow didn't put a foot wrong today. He got man of the match. I thought he was worth every penny of it. He was fantastic today, as he has been in so many games this season. And if I'm honest, when I look through the signings we've made this year, I think he is going to be the one that we look back on in years to come and say the best 30 million quid we ever spent. I think he's the equivalent Fabian Schär. He's the equivalent of bringing in a defender for 4 million quid who turns out to be a worldie. I think he's great. I think he's really progressive, switched on. I love how much he gets forward and how aggressive he is in his attacking presence. I thought he was unlucky, actually, against Marseille to have one cleared off the line. But today, a brace for Malik Chow, absolutely brilliant. And Lewis Miley's corner to get the assist and then to get the second goal. I thought Lewis Miley was absolutely fantastic today. And the same thing, if you watched my last video, I was calling for Lewis Miley to get more game time because having seen Elliot Anderson and Yakuba Mintago and their careers flourish in a season and turn into absolutely fantastic players, I feel like Lewis Miley has always been said to have more potential than both of them. And if he doesn't get the game time and we don't blood him as a young player, he's never going to get that chance or that become that prospect that we want him to be. So today was a real turning point. I'm really hoping we'll start to see more change with our midfield and more rotation between Sandro, Bruno, really, and Lewis Miley. And then obviously, Alanga's assist, fair play to him. This is the first game I thought Alanga, he looked good. Not fantastic, but he looked good. And I felt like there were a few key moments where he actually started to show us what he could be. And I know he's not there yet, and it might be a bit of confidence, and I'm sure it will come with time. But the ball through to Nick Voltemade, and this finish, Nick Voltemade's finish, this finish is absolutely world class. And this is the thing, I look at Nick at 23 years old, to have that much composure, to stay that calm when a keeper's coming out towards you and just dink that ball over the top like he's just feathering it in. Absolutely sublime. An absolute world-class finish. And I think most other players or most other strikers you see in that situation, head down, pick a spot and drill it. And Nick Woltemade, all the composure in the world when we really need to kill a game off before half time, and he took it like he was world class. So I thought he was fantastic today. I thought Nick Woltemade, hats off. Really nice interview with him and Malik at the end. They seem to be getting on really well. They seem really close. It's a good start. It's good spirit. It's a good uplift. And I really hope we can carry this into the next game. But moving on and going through the team. So Ramsdale, like I said, I thought he was a little bit nervy. But overall, a solid performance. I'm a little bit gutted for him that he didn't get the clean sheet. I felt he deserved the clean sheet today. He didn't really have much to put up with, but he was fantastic with his feet, and his ball distribution really opened things up for us. And him being able to pass not just out to the back four, but straight through to the midfield, or even knock a long ball up front, it makes a real difference to how we play. And then moving to the back line. And I was a little bit worried, if I'm honest, with Dan Burn being in this back line, because I wasn't sure that he had the greatest game against Marseille, and I thought he looked a bit leggy. Now, I thought he looked a little bit leggy today, and I don't want to criticise him too much, because he has been fantastic for us, and he's obviously, it's not his fault he's been playing out of position when he's played at left back, and he has had a lot of criticism for that. But I thought he looked a little bit off, and his positioning was a little bit wayward for a couple of key moments in the game where I felt like Everton was starting to get back into it or on top of us. But the other three guys, Lewis Hall, Tino Livramento, Malik Chow, A1. And I'd like us to have one old head in that back line, whether it's Fabs or whether it's Dan Burn or whether it's Trippier, to be the leader, to help organise, to set these guys up. But realistically, these are the future. These guys are the future of our backline. And if we can hang on to them, they are what I believe some of the best in the Premier League. I genuinely believe we have England's left back and right back for the next 10 years. I think when they hit their levels, they are better than any other left back or English left back and right back in the Premier League. And I think given the time to progress and develop, if they can stay fit 1 or 2 seasons, and we will see those as the England fullback pairing. And obviously Malik Chow, fantastic game today. I don't think he's had a bad game so far this season. I think he's been a real stalwart for us, and he looks to be growing every game I see him play. His confidence, his ability, how sure he is on the ball. The key thing for me is his ability to make the right choices at the right times. He very rarely gives the ball away. So fair play to him. Absolutely brilliant. The midfield three, I think Joel Linton may be carrying a knock. I a couple of times looked at him and he didn't look to be running as free and easily as he has done previously this season. And there's a bit of me that still thinks he's carrying some sort of issue from the Brentford game when he had that horrible smash on the leg. So I thought he was okay today. I thought he had a solid game. A couple of times he gave the ball away, but overall I think he was fairly good. Bruno, captain, fantastic. I thought he was decent today. It was interesting to see the switch between him and Miley dropping into the 6 in the same way that him and Sandro sometimes do. But overall, I have to take my hat off to Lewis Miley. Lewis Miley today, I thought, given the opportunity, grabbed it grabbed the ball by the horns. He was fantastic. I thought everything he did, he looked assured, he looked strong, physically capable. He was getting stuck into challenges when other players weren't, which I was really pleased to see. And I really hope we can just keep him developing, slowly ticking along. I don't think he needs to play every game, but I think he needs to get more games. I think he needs to be more of a regular and feature more minutes. And I'm not talking last 15 of a match. I think he needs half an hour, 40 minutes in a game, every other game or every game. So really pleased for him today. I thought he took his goal really well. Key thing being, it's a difficult chance to take on your weaker foot, and he kept it down, drove it low, and it was on target. And that's the main thing. That's all you can do. And fortunately, nothing pleases me more than to see Jordan Pickford foul it through his legs and look like an absolute idiot, because he's the one that gives us the stick when it goes the other way. So I was really happy for him today. And then moving on to the wingers, Alanga and Harvey Barnes. And I'd have to say, Harvey had a really solid game. I thought he looked good as ever. And Alanga, for the first time, I think, since we've signed him, I think he showed something today. A bit more desire, a bit more willing to run, a bit more desire to win balls and start to create or to get into spaces where he could kind of affect the play, open things up. I didn't think he was outstanding, but he was definitely better. And to get the assist for Nick Voltemada, that was chasing a lost ball. I thought that was brilliant. That's what we want to see from every player in the team. You want to see you not give up. So yeah, overall really good. And then obviously Nick Voltemada, I thought he was solid. And then when we made the changes, I was quite happy to see Joe Willock and Jacob Ramsey come on. I think they're both a decent pairing. I think they offer something different to the midfield. And I did say it in the Marseille game. I thought Joe Willock actually looks like he's coming back to getting some sort of form back. And he definitely offers us something going forward. He seems to pick the right passes. He looks progressive. He's getting to the right spaces. So this can only be a promising thing as we move forward. But the main issue that I found in the last one, or the same as this game, that I kind of want to touch upon is Anthony Gordon. And I personally feel like Anthony Gordon is either not training correctly or he is a want away. I feel like he's trying to highlight himself to get a move. I don't feel like he's putting the effort in. I definitely don't think you see Eddie Howe bring Jacob Ramsey on at left wing when Anthony Gordon's fit and sat on the bench if there's something not quite right there. So watch this space. We'll see what happens with Anthony Gordon. I don't know whether we could be lining up to get rid of him or not, or whether it's just a patch of form, or whether it's the injury, the hip injury that they say he's had. But his form has definitely tailed off over the last 2 years, and we really haven't seen him get back to his best. And yet, like I said previously, you do see him do it for England or in the Champions League on the bigger stages. So why he's not turning up in the Premier League is yet to be seen. But overall, in conclusion, Geordies, let me know in the comments what you thought of today's performance. If you agree with me that giving these young guys who want to play for the shirt is the right thing to do. I personally feel like we should be doing this because in 2 or 3 or 4 years' time, these are going to be the guys that are the mainstays in this team. Obviously, we've got a lot of players who are moving into the latter stages of their career and a lot of interest from other clubs, and I feel like there will be players moved on. It happens all the time. Which ones it will be, we never know, obviously. But do you think we need to start blooding young players a little bit more and giving them more freedom and maybe take a little bit of a hit on our Premier League season in order to develop a team for a push next season? or whether we stick to the tried and tested, which has caused us so much frustration the start of this year. But let me know in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. And hopefully, guys, I will see you in the next one.